this project, I thought it was important to get this first info session done. So welcome everybody. So this is the first info session around the Arkansas DHS Enabling Technology Pilot Program, which is entering year 2. I'll describe a little bit more about that shortly. And I just wanted to start out with introductions of myself and my colleague Elena, who's on the call. So my name's Paul Jevish. I work for a company called Simply Home, who's been contracted with DHS to spin up a pilot program around enabling technology, and also to work with DHS on waiver updates, as well as developing a sustainability model that will allow this to carry on beyond the pilot. My role in the project is as a provider specialist. So my background is several years with a large provider in Pennsylvania area, establishing a technology program with them. And now I help providers around the country do the same thing. So that's who I am. And Elena, if you want to introduce yourself.
Absolutely, and hopefully you guys can hear me all right. My name is Elena Gallagher. I apologize I'm not on video. Normally I try to be. However, I am driving. Got my cat event this morning and it went a little bit longer than anticipated. But I am a contracted professional with the Simply Home Grant Project for this technology program. And I'm a subject matter expert on this project. So I work directly with the providers in doing the assessment and searching for and identifying appropriate technology to meet people's needs during this pilot period. I'm also in tandem with a few of the other subject matter experts and Paul, working with DHS to help write some of the policy language that hopefully will make these services accessible after this pilot is finished up. So I'm super happy to be here and to meet you all. I'm sorry that it's a little bit less formal than I normally like, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Elena. And then I saw another colleague of mine, Annie Eubank, joined. Annie, could you introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. Can you hear me, Paul?
I can.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Annie Eubank. I'm a subject matter expert with the grant. Do I do like a 2-sentence introduction, or is that all, Paul?
I love it. No, go for it.
Okay, so I'm a licensed occupational therapist and social worker. And I'm an ATP, which is an assistive technology practitioner, and have focused on tech throughout my career. My other job is working with United Health Group in new product development on the innovation team, focusing on technology and sensor technology. So real excited to meet everyone.
And I'd love to know who we're talking to. So if we could go around the room briefly with just who you are, which organization you're with, and what your title is within the organization, that would be great. And let's start with Daniel. Or possibly Daniel not on the call. So Kaylee, can I go to you, or Callie?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaylee Hembry, and I am the communications coordinator for Tech First Shift. So I think Paul has some slides here in a little bit. I'll share a little bit more about Shift, but we're just here to be a support and a help with this project with our education and trainings.
Great. And does anyone else want to jump in on the and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alex Brewer, and I'm from Pathfinder in Jacksonville, Arkansas, and the managing director for our residential services, so our apartments and group homes, and we're excited to hear more.
Alex, I'm still learning my Arkansas geography, so Jacksonville is in which part of the state?
Central.
Okay, great.
Pathfinder services all of Arkansas, but we are housed, our main office is in Jacksonville, which is Central Arkansas. Yes.
Super. I see some other folks on the call, Heather or Daniel, if anybody wants to join in with an intro. All right. And I also see Shani and Carla. Okay, we'll move forward. Hopefully folks are hearing us okay, but maybe distracted with a call or something. So to get us started, we're going to talk, we've introed each other. Want to do an overview of the project. Like, what is this pilot project? You may not have full awareness. You may have just sort of gotten an outreach. Talk about what the provider expectations are within the pilot. Talk about, as Kaylee mentioned, the educational component, which works through our sister organization SHIFT. What's the timeline for this, your portion of this pilot, and then the next steps. So this is really an information session. We're not going to get deep into the weeds. I'm going to try to give you the information that you need to evaluate whether or not your organization wants to apply to be part of this. And I also want to give you enough information that you can go back and come, you can ask questions during the call, but simply, go back, think on it a little bit and come back with questions as well. All right, so we did intros. There's a few other members of our team, Jason, Harold, and Rachel, who are obviously not on the call today, but they are integral to pushing this pilot project forward. And if you join into the pilot, you will get to meet them as well. All right, so there's really two parts to what this overall project is meant to do. So first off, it's important to know that we've already passed a year into the pilot. So the pilot was established and really spun up in April of 2024. In that first year, we had 10 providers within Arkansas join the first year of that pilot. They were spread out over behavioral health, DD, and aging population. So in that first year, and the whole focus of the pilot is really to support and advise Arkansas DHS on how to create a sustainable technology first program. So that's what our SMEs, Annie and Elena and Harold, who I saw just join, are all working with DHS and the passes on. So trying to get alignment with what is tech first, educating the state, educating the providers, educating the passes on enabling technology, and then getting them in alignment on how this is going to work in Arkansas, both during the pilot and then going forward beyond that. So that's been the big heavy lift in that first year, working with the state and the passes, and then also working with these 10 providers to get technology implemented for individuals. So that's the second piece of it is, okay, who really benefits from this pilot program is the individuals that you care for. So over the first year already, we've installed technology for roughly 60 individuals across the state. And we've done assessments for way more than that, or the providers have done assessments for way more than that. And the real, the impact of this is this technology is really going to give folks a greater sense of independence and self-determination, allow them to reach outcomes and goals that they may not otherwise have been able to achieve or could achieve more easily with the use of technology, while maintaining their health and safety and in many cases enhancing their safety through the use of enabling technology. So really building big wins and good stories at the individual beneficiary level or member level or whatever your terminology might be throughout the course of this first year. So as I mentioned, phase one is sort of coming to a close. That's what we accomplished in the first year, or worked on in the first year. That includes us consulting with DHS on updating or revising the waivers. We recruited 10 providers to participate, as I said earlier. All those providers, plus DHS, plus the passes, went through the SHIFT education to learn about enabling technology and help instill in their organization a tech-first mindset. We also coordinated with vendors nationwide, so they were aware of this program, and we were able to educate the providers on what type of enabling technology is available, what solutions are out there. Lastly, starting to gather data on outcomes and improvements through this process. And at the same time, and some of you may have attended this because it was open to everybody. We had an Enabling Technology Summit in November in Little Rock, where we had a great set of speakers around how to implement enabling technology. Moving on to phase 2 and sort of maybe why you're on this call. So this is being continued for another year through March 2026. And part of that continuation is the second bullet point, is we're adding 3 additional providers into the pilot. We're going to continue sustainability planning with DHS and the passes. We're going to have another tech summit. We're going to continue the data collection and analysis. But why we're here, 3 new providers, and we want to help you understand what does it mean to participate in this pilot program. A brief slide or 2 here on technology first. The concept may be new to you, or you may know of it in passing. Technology first is a way to look at services that you provide in a fashion that you think about how can technology help enhance or reach this outcome, and have that in the forefront of your mind when you're developing your person-centered planning. So it's a mindset shift to think, hey, technology can unlock this self-determination. Technology can unlock this independence as long as we do a good certain person-centered plan, emphasize the individual's choices in this process and what they want to use in a technology perspective to really help them achieve their outcomes. So truly, technology first defines itself. It's the first thing we want to look at when it comes to how we provide our care and our solutions and advance outcomes. For the providers, technology first can do a few things. It can enhance your care and your services, and it can also help in some instances reduce the strain of on staff. And with the national workforce shortage, we all know that that can be beneficial to our programs. So obviously, we envision that staffing is going to be only get worse over time, and this is going to help improve that situation. One thing we like to emphasize, because we talk a lot about technology, but what it really is about the person, and it's about their goals and the outcomes they're trying to achieve. So the mindset is technology first within the confines of the person and their goals. And I want to make sure that's clear and upfront to everybody as we're talking. All right, so what does it mean to add 3 providers? So, and certainly just pause here. I obviously ask questions as we go along, if anything comes up, anything I say, because I'm going to get into a little bit more of the details. All right, so the phase 2 really runs from June 1st through the end of March. So you're looking at 10 months, if I'm doing my math correctly. June will be an aggressive start date, but we think we can accomplish it. And I'll get to the timeline shortly. So if you were to participate in this pilot program, the commitments that you have are to enroll in and complete the SHIFT enabling technology training for your staff. It's not your entire staff, but it's not 1 or 2 people either. So based on your organizational size, Kaylee and her team will right size the training for you. She's going to talk a little bit about that later on in the presentation. So completing that SHIFT training, the hiring of a full-time technology champion. So I want to emphasize the full time. We want a committed person in your organization whose only role is advancing the technology first agenda. So they're going to be coordinating all of the activities within the organization, making sure people are getting the training that they need. They're going to be attending meetings around the pilot. They're going to be a champion within your organization, which means they're going to be a person who is going to maybe help change the mindset of folks who are resistant to technology that within your leadership. They're going to help documents and help create policies and procedures. And they're also going to be assessing individuals and coordinating installation. So it's a full encompassing position. We'll also be asking you to create a tech team, 3 to 5 people. It's simply an add-on responsibility for them, a couple hours a month, possibly, for them to help advise the champion, how things are going, getting feedback. We want people from all levels of your organization to be on the tech team so that the tech champion is getting feedback from the DSPs who are doing the direct care, to finance, to whomever within the tech team. And then we're asking you to assess and do installations for a minimum of 10 individuals in your care and completing that by the end of March. When I get into the incentives, I'll give you a little bit more info on that. You can do more than 10. And that technology is reimbursed through the grant. So stay tuned for the details on the finances. Obviously, complying with the requirements and meeting all the pilot milestones is going to be part of the agreement that you make, and then championing technology within the organization. So those are the major asks for the providers. All right. Now, and it's a little bit of a repeat of the last slide, but basically the main thing I want to show here is that there are milestones attached to a lot of these steps that you're going to go through. So for example, if you are accepted through the application process and you sign the MOU to join the pilot, there's an incentive payment. When you hire a full-time tech champion, there are incentive dollars available for your organization to help pay the salary of that individual. So I'm going to just jump right into the numbers next. So as you can see here, in straight incentive payments, there are about $45,000 available to your organization. The big one I want to draw your attention to is we have $36,000 available for the tech champion. That would cover the 10 months if that person happened to be hired by June 1st. That's possibly unlikely. So you're looking at probably about 8 or 9 months worth of that person through the end of the pilot. We'll have $36,000 available for you for that. That will not come in one lump sum. There'll be an achievement incentive along the way. So you would get, I believe it's 40% of it up front. And then once you cross 5 installations, you get another payment of 40%. So that is parceled out throughout the grant. In addition, I want to just note that for each of those 10 individuals, your organization will get $800 for completing the assessment and installation. So that's $8,000 of additional reimbursement dollars. That gets us up to $53,000. That's available for your organization. And lastly, you're going to be outlaying dollars to purchase the technology for an individual and install it. But that is all reimbursable up to $5,000 per individual. So there's $50,000 max in reimbursable technology dollars available to your org. The cap per individual is $5,000. We're not seeing our current providers hit that. So you can take in and install for as many individuals as you can until you reach that $50,000 cap. So if you're able to do 30 people rather than 10 within the time frame, you can do that. So that $50,000 is available to you. I'm going to pause here for a second because I'm throwing a lot of numbers and milestones at you, and you may have some questions at this point. Okay. I'm going to jump. Hey, Harold, please, you got your hand up.
A question for the providers who are here today. Excuse me, have any of you spoken with the current group of providers who are participating to find out what it's been like for them? Unless you asked that question already, Paul, before I jumped in. I'm curious about your curiosity.
I have
No.
not. I have
Go
not
ahead.
yet. No,
Not yet?
that does not mean our leadership hasn't, though.
Okay. Anyone else curious enough to have asked questions of current participants? No? Okay, it wouldn't be a bad idea. So let me finish the sentence. I was being a little bit coy. It wouldn't be a bad idea to hear about their experience from a peer versus us. Okay, Paul, thank you.
Yeah, totally agree, Harold. Very good suggestion. And when I do the follow-up, I will make sure I provide you with the names of those organizations, in particular the DD organizations who are participating. I'm going to shift back a slide and just kind of go over the timeline. The timeline is very compact. 10 months is not a lot of time to work with, considering we don't have any of the three providers signed on yet. So we have to give you the information and allow you to noodle on it, determine if you want to apply, do the application, all that stuff. I'd love for folks to be signed on. We really need the 3 signed on by June 1st. We would do a more formal project kickoff at that point in time. You would begin engaging with Haley and her team on shift enrollment and start the training, and that would begin in June. In July and August, the idea would be to be completing the shift education. You'd start doing outreach to individuals, their families, their caretakers, to assess whether they're ready for technology and to be fully assessed for enabling tech. By September, we'll be offering you some additional training in the way of a speaker series, which we did for the first year as well. And you would begin to initiate individual assessments. So someone on your team or multiple people on your team would be doing assessments with the individual and with their circle of support to really determine their needs, what outcomes they're trying to get to, and figuring out what tech would be best. And that's where Annie and Harold and Elena come in as the subject matter experts to help coach you through that process. By October and December, you need to begin wrapping up the assessments, start to do the tech installations. So, it's not too far from the beginning of the project before we want to start getting things installed. And then just the first part of 2026 is really wrap up. You're completing your installations, you're continuing your data collection and doing data reporting. And by March, we're handing off the pilot into a sustainable state initiative. All right, so I'm going to pause my portion there. One of the first things you're going to be engaged with in this pilot is Shift Education. I thought it was important for you to hear directly from Shift, who is a partner organization with us in this grant. Kaylee, if you want to take it away and just give an overview of what Shift is and maybe what they should expect.
Sure. Thank you, Paul. So I'll keep it brief as you'll, if you decide to do the pilot, you all will learn more about Shift and what all we offer. But we are an online education and accreditation platform focusing on best practices to a technology first approach to services. So our whole goal and mission at Shift is just to support organizations like yourselves throughout their technology first journey. And our education and training is typically the first step, as Paul was speaking on with the timeline, is the first step towards that. Paul, if you want to go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about our certifications and our training. Okay, so like I said, we are all based on standardized best practices for what it means to be a tech first organization. So all of our education, our certifications, our introduction to technology first is all based around educating your staff on best practices when beginning a technology first approach to services so that you'll be set up for success. When you get to the implementation and data collection phase, you'll be set up for success. You'll have buy-in from your staff. Everyone will have a good foundation of what a technology first approach looks like. So with that being said, we offer 3 different certifications with Shift. One is the Enabling Technology Integration Specialist certification. And that certification is really for those individuals that you identify within your organization that are going to kind of serve as tech champions with their teams, getting buy-in from team members and helping do assessments for tech readiness and selection of technology to be used. The other 2 certifications we offer are the Enabling Technology Navigator certification. That one is specific to the people writing the person-centered plans within your organization. So support coordinators, case managers, individuals kind of like that. And then our 3rd certification is our Enabling Technology Leadership certification. So that is an all-encompassing certification that is for whoever is leading this charge, which would probably be your full-time tech person, to really give them a great understanding of what it takes to transform your organization to a technology first organization. All of our online certifications are self-paced and they take roughly 15 hours to complete. They all have an experiential learning project specific to those certifications that really gives you hands-on experience with what you're going to ultimately be doing with technology, and then also an exam. And we know that you all have full-time jobs, and so we try to make it self-paced and as condensed timeline-wise as possible. So we say it typically takes roughly 15 hours to complete our certifications. We also offer an introduction to technology first, which is a 2-hour live virtual training facilitated by 2 subject matter experts at Shift. And that's a great way for you to have staff members at all levels of your organization come and learn about enabling technology. We discuss kind of some of the myths behind what this means for my job. What's the difference? Is it going to take my job away? And it's just a great foundational 2 hours of learning and conversation for staff at all levels to really get buy-in from those staff members as you're working towards becoming a tech first organization. And Paul, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so I won't talk too much about this since you guys are still in the beginning phases about this, but just go ahead and be thinking about the selection of staff members. As Paul said, it's going to be based on your organizational size, how many staff members you'll need to educate with those different certifications and our introduction course. But just start thinking, and I'm sure people within your organization are already coming to mind that are excited about this possible project, and just be thinking about strong leaders and identifying those people that you feel like would be good candidates to be enrolled in our education. But that's the Shift overview. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them, as well as if you know, after this call, if you need to follow up, I can drop my email in the chat.
Thank you so much, Kaylee.
You're welcome.
So the last piece to wrap up is the next steps. So we're going to start the application project. Part of this really ASAP. So the intent is to have the application out to all interested parties on Monday. And by interested parties, anybody who signed up to attend this meeting or the next meeting is going to get the application on Monday. If I've somehow dissuaded you from participation during this, you can just delete that email, but hopefully we've piqued your curiosity enough to ask some more questions and do the application. So we'll do an additional session scheduled for Monday the 28th. If any, as I said right at the top, I'm going to send the recording of this one out to everybody who was invited to this call. Certainly share that. It'll be on a YouTube channel, so it'll be open to anybody. Share that with other people in your organization, leadership team, so you can help. You can start formulating questions, having discussions internally. Those applications are going to be due on May 9th. So it gives you a couple of weeks here to do the application. The application focuses a lot on what are your interests, what's the reason that you're interested in this program, what's some of your experiences with enabling technology, if any. I should mention that in between, and actually I said this at the top before we started recording, but I'm going to be at DDPA next week. So if any of you or your leadership are there and want to have a side conversation to dig into this a little bit more, I will be available really throughout the conference. I want to meet with as many of you as possible and hold one-on-one discussions or small group discussions as we go through. We will figure out the week of May 15th. Excuse me, the week of May 12th, who are the three providers, and we'll be letting all the applicants know by the 19th. Love to get the MOUs signed by the end of that week. I know we start entering vacation season, but we're going to do our best to get those MOUs signed as quickly as possible, with the idea that you're going to hit the ground running by June 1st, which means start looking for that full-time tech champion, start pulling together the names for Kaylee and her team about who should be educated, so that we get momentum right away, because 10 months is going to go way faster than any of us want to admit or acknowledge, but we just know it happens. So that's what it's going to look like. Additional information that you're going to get that when I send out the application, I'm going to send a separate email to you. It's going to have things like the technology champion job description, a one-pager on how you would build a tech team. There's probably a couple. I'll have a link in there to our YouTube channel so you can see the sort of content that we've put out around enabling technology in the first year. Done a great job already with the 10 providers who have participated, and so we already have momentum. It's just getting 3 new providers like on the bandwagon with us. So look for that as a separate email, just a little additional content that's going to help answer some of your questions. So I'm done with the part of the presentation, or this presentation. Does anybody on the call have a question about what we've talked about today? Okay, it's a lot of information to process. Some of you are coming into this, with no background on it at all or very little. So think on this, talk to people on your team, reach out to me next week, reach out to me and let's set up some time next week to talk further and look for that application to hit your inbox on Monday. Really appreciate everybody's involvement. And Alex, I saw that. Yes, I will definitely add you to the email with the video. Great. All right. Appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great Easter weekend. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.